Florida State defense turned momentum in first half at Clemson. Following a Jameis Winston interception that set up the Tigers with great field position at the Seminoles' 42-yard line, the Florida State defense held Clemson without points, forcing the punt 5 plays later when Clemson couldn't convert a 3rd and 16 from the Florida State 35-yard line. Clemson started its next drive at its own 49-yard line after forcing a 3-and-out but failed to even get the ball into field goal range and was forced to punt once again. The Seminoles scored 4 plays later on 72-yard touchdown pass from Winston to former Fort Lauderdale St. Thomas Aquinas star Rashad Green that made it 24-7. Aquinas shines. 2 former St. Thomas Aquinas standouts had huge first halves to help put the Seminoles ahead 27-7 heading into the tunnel. LaMarcus Joyner forced a fumble that was returned for a touchdown when he blindsided Clemson quarterback T.J. Boyd in the first quarter and then ended a Clemson scoring threat with an interception late in the second quarter. Green hauled in 7 passes in the first half for 129 yards and a touchdown, including a 72-yard scoring play that saw him break a tackle before sprinting away from 2 Clemson defenders. Green also scored on a 17-yard reception from Winston in the third quarter. Fast score. After forcing a turnover on Clemson's first offensive play of the game, Florida State wasted little time scoring. The Seminoles scored on a 22-yard touchdown pass from Winston to Kelvin Benjamin just 3 plays later. The score gave FSU the early lead and also marked the first time Clemson had given up points off a turnover all season. 2 possessions later, the Tigers gave up their second score off a turnover when Florida State's Mario Edwards Jr. returned a Boyd fumble 37 yards for a touchdown. Big first quarter. The 17 points Florida State scored against Clemson in the first quarter were the most points in a quarter the Tigers had allowed this season and the most since NC State put up 21 in the first quarter on November 17, 2012. Wilder injured. James Wilder Jr. left the game in the second quarter with a concussion and did not return. The junior running back finished the game with 12 yards on 5 carries. Next for FSU, the Seminoles would be well served not to look ahead to their game against rival Miami in 2 weeks. The Hurricanes are unbeaten, and the game will mark the return to form for one of college football's best rivalries. But first, Florida State has to contend with an NC State team that upset it and derail its national title hopes last season. The Wolfpack 3-3, 0-2-3 ACC visits Tallahassee on Saturday at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. This and it. Coming into Saturday night, the Tigers had not turned the ball over more than twice in a game all season. By halftime, the Seminoles already had forced 3. Florida State's captains were senior corner Joyner, senior linebacker Telvin Smith and senior wide receiver Kenny Shaw. When Florida State won the toss and elected to defer, it marked the 17th consecutive game that Clemson had received the opening kickoff.